What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Zekko Football channel. Today we're talking Europe and previewing Newcastle's colossal game against Paris Saint-Germain. If you are new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe, you like the video, and turn on those notifications. And now, let's talk Newcastle versus PSG. Let's begin by having a look at the team lineups, and because Newcastle are at home, we're going to start with them. I've got them set up in their standard 4-3-3 formation, and in goal I've got, as ever, Nick Pope. Back four looks like this: Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, and one big omission is Sven Botman. He's not looking like he's going to be fit for the trip from PSG to Newcastle, and that's why I've got Jamal Lascelles coming into this starting lineup. I think Jamal Lascelles has done absolutely perfect. He hasn't played a lot of football at all, but when he was called upon, especially in the game against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup, he did a fantastic job, so I firmly expect for him to come into this starting 11. Dan Burnett on this left-hand side, I believe, is going to be trusted again, and I know there are shouts for Lewis Hall or even Tino Livramento to come in at left-back, but I think Dan Burnett's going to keep his place. Bruno Guimaraes is the central defensive midfielder for Newcastle United, and I think he'll hold his spot. Sean Longstaff will take the place of Joe Linton, but on the other side, and that means that Sandro Tonali will come in at this left centre mid position. Tonali played a very good game against AC Milan in this position, and I thought actually was quite defensively sound, so I've got him back here. Longstaff, we did a video on him recently. If you haven't seen that, please do go check that out, about how he helps cover for Bruno Guimaraes to be able to move forwards and really unlock this Newcastle United attack. Moving into the front three, we have Almiron out on the right hand side after his banger against Burnley, and we have Anthony Gordon out on this left hand side. He has been on fire. I'd argue Newcastle's best player to date. And then we have Alexander Isak leading the line for Newcastle United, and this is your Newcastle United 11. Now let's take a look at the visiting side. Paris Saint-Germain, we have Donnarumma in goal. This is a 4-3-3 formation for Paris Saint-Germain, and we have Hakimi on the right, Marquinhos and Skriniar as the two centre-backs, Luca Hernandez as the left-back. Ugarte will be the central defensive midfield pivot for this side, and there are two attacking eights in front of him. One is Vitinha on the left-hand side and Zaire Emery on the right. Moving forwards, we have Kolo Muani as the main central striker, Ousmane Dembélé as the right attacking forward, and of course Kylian Mbappe as the left-sided forward. There were question marks over Mbappe and whether he would be able to be fit. He played in the most recent match, so I believe he will come into this starting lineup. A devastating looking PSG attack, and this is the visiting side. Let's now talk about how the game will break down and look towards a couple of the duels that I think will really shape this match and shift it one way or the other. First of all, although Newcastle fans I'm sure will want their team to really go at PSG, maintain possession, control the game, I actually think possession will be heavily in PSG's favour. We need to remember that this is a Luis Enrique based team, and that means that possession will be at the forefront of their minds. On top of that, the midfield composition that PSG will go for is heavily based towards retaining possession. Vitinha and Zaire Emery are brilliant at recycling the ball whenever they are under pressure, and Ugarte is very good at winning the ball back, but at the same time recycling the ball round so that they can move from one side to the other. But from a PSG point of view going forwards, I believe that the two danger men in Kylian Mbappe and Ousmane Dembélé will be the ones that Newcastle really need to look towards. That is then going to open channels for the likes of Vitinha and Zaire Emery to really get on the ball, and it's going to be down to Tonali and Sean Longstaff to try and make sure that they stop that from happening. Bruno Guimaraes is going to have a pretty lonely job up against the likes of Kolo Muani, because he's going to be dropping in a little bit deeper. What does Bruno Guimaraes do? Does he hold and stay, or does he press? We mentioned in a video previously that Sean Longstaff likes to drop in a little bit deeper to help Bruno Guimaraes be able to go forwards, but I'm not sure that's going to be possible in this game. The defensive capabilities of Ugarte and his tenacity in midfield just make it that little bit more difficult to work on their transition. That being said, I do believe that Newcastle's best avenue in this game will be the transitional play that they can get from Anthony Gordon, Almiron and Alexander Isak. The midfield three are going to have a really tough time on them to try and stop the midfield presence from PSG, and it's going to be this midfield battle which is going to win or lose the game. Newcastle have an abundance of energy energy, and the quality difference isn't so much. Zaire Emery is still very young, and Vitinha does have hot and cold days. So if the likes of Sandro Tonali and Sean Longstaff can get the better of them in terms of an energy point of view, which is really where Newcastle get their best momentum from, I believe that Newcastle could shift the momentum into their favour, and that's not even mentioning the crowd, which I'm sure will be absolutely rocking. But let's reverse for a moment and just go back. Let's talk about PSG and how they will attack. To begin with, they are going to dominate the ball for me. I think that they're going to look to isolate two scenarios. The first one is Ousmane Dembele on to Dan Burn, and the second one is Kylian Mbappe on to Kieran Trippier. They want these singular 1v1 scenarios because of how technically gifted they are, but also down to their blistering pace. Kylian Mbappe will more than likely look to go down the outside and look for crosses into Kolo Muani. Ousmane Dembele will do the same thing. The key point about Ousmane Dembele is he's not one-footed, he's two-footed. He has the ability to both go left and right with extreme brilliance, and that means that he's going to be an absolute danger for Dan Burn. I'm very scared about Dan Burn for Newcastle in this scenario. I know he's a decent defender, I know he's brilliant aerially, but really up against a pace merchant, up against a technically gifted player like Ousmane Dembele, I really do worry for him, and it's going to require the help and support from Anthony Gordon, who will be up and down this pitch like nothing else if Newcastle are going to get anything from this game. When they do win the ball back, transition is going to be absolutely key, and that is where I want to talk about some of PSG's frailties, and it comes in the form of Skriniar. He's not essentially the fastest of players, and I do believe that Miguel Almiron will be able to get the better of him. Alexander Isak should be able to pin himself onto Skriniar, and then Newcastle should be able to build their attacks from there. Gordon will be able to travel with the ball, and I think a diagonal run through the middle of the pitch past Ugarte is something that is really going to help open up the channels. And then you've got the supporting runs of Sandro Tonali, then you've got the runs from Sean Longstaff. The energy is going to be absolutely key. The midfield battle is crucial, and if they are able to win that energy battle, win that midfield battle, I believe Newcastle will be able to go forwards that little bit easier. But from a Newcastle attacking point of view, let's just shift this a little bit. When Newcastle do get the ball, it's not like they're never going to have possession, but when they do get it, they need to be absolutely certain with what they want to do with it. Normally, you would see the likes of Dan Burn supporting the attack going forward, same with Kieran Trippier, but I think staying back and holding to stop that counter-attack from Ousmane Dembele and Kylian Mbappe is extremely useful. They're going to be looking to play the ball in behind towards these channels to make sure that they're able to get those 1v1 scenarios that I mentioned earlier. So what is key and crucial is Sandro Tonali and Sean Longstaff maintaining their possession. PSG's press will be intense, especially the closer they get to their box. So it's going to be down to Miguel Almiron and Anthony Gordon to be able to win their 1v1 duels against the opposition fullbacks. Alexander Isak is going to play a major part in this, in making sure that he can get a run on either Skriniar or Marquinhos. The run over 5 or 10 yards is going to be completely crucial, and it's going to be this area here that I think the game will be won and lost for Newcastle. If Alexander Isak is able to get the better of his centre-backs, Almiron get his cross in, and Anthony Gordon be able to beat the likes of Hakimi, it's going to be a good day for Newcastle. Tonali and Longstaff recycling possession, Bruno Guimaraes making sure that he's able to be that metronome for Newcastle to be able to recycle play around. I think that Newcastle could have a very special night on their hands. It's going to be tough, it's going to be difficult, and they do need to watch out for the counter-attack that will be sprung by these two extremely technically gifted wingers. Then you've got the likes of Kolo Muani, who is arguably one of the most up-and-coming strikers in Europe. It's not going to be an easy game, but it should be an absolute belter. I'm actually gone for a surprise. I think Newcastle could do something special here. I can see something along the lines of a 2-1 win. I just believe that Newcastle's ability in midfield, their tenacity and their energy might just be enough to allow them to get the upper hand over this still new-looking PSG side. It's going to be a battle of wits, it's going to be a battle of fight, it's going to be a battle of heart. And it's the heart that I believe will push Newcastle over the line. It's going to be difficult, it's going to be tough, but I think it could be a really good night. But my question to you is, how do you believe this game will play out? Do you think that Newcastle can do it? How do you believe PSG will rock up to at St James's Park? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I would love to hear from you. That is it from me for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care.